Zone from M2 light industrial to CD8, those portions shown on Appendix 2. Rezone from A1 agricultural to P1 park and recreation, those portions shown on Appendix 2. Rezone from A1 to CD1, those portions shown on Appendix 2. And further, that final reading will be withheld subject to Ministry of Transportation approval.
Development Services.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just further on the recommendation, there's a number of requirements that are outlined prior to final reading, as well as a staff recommendation in terms of process as well. The report is fairly lengthy, so I will go through it. The applicant is here as well, Glenn Burry, and he'll say a few words after I'm done, and is available to answer any questions the council may have as well. In terms of moving through, the proposal consists of 4 phases as shown on the screen. Phase 1, 3, and 4 are proposed to be commercial, and Phase 2, the request from the applicant is for high-density residential, and speak to all of this in more detail. And then as part of Phase 1, there would be some land donated to the city up in the northwest corner here as well. The commercial component in Phase 1 is about 34 acres in size, and would consist of a number of retail buildings, 2 of them being the large format retailers. The site plan and the concept in terms of design aren't specific to rezoning, but they're provided to show the intent of the development. The specific details will be dealt with at the time of a development permit. The park itself, consisting of the riparian area and the storm pond, is about a little over 8 acres in size. The residential portion in Phase 2 is about 12 acres in size, and Phase 3 about 1.5 acres, and Phase 4 commercial about 4 acres in size. There's a number of amendments that are required in order for this application to proceed, and those are as listed in the motion for consideration. I'll just speak to the application package a little bit and get into the details. Proposed landscaping concept, pedestrian, as shown in orange, pedestrian access within the site, and provided with some concepts of possible design, or potential design of a series of a number of the buildings within the commercial portion of the development. And this design is not, as mentioned, is not specifically a development permit application, but is shown to provide some information about the proposed concept as the development would be proposed by the applicant. So in terms of the OCP designations, are highway commercial after if approved would be for the south portion of the site, for the commercial park in the northwest, and I'll get into this in more detail as well. The applicant's requesting high density, and staff are recommending acreage reserve, and I'll speak to that in a moment. Again, a CD8 zone would be created, a new zone to accommodate what described as a regional shopping center. The commercial portion of the property, the park area will go to P1, and the northeast portion that would be to be residential would be a CD1 zone, and staff are recommending that portion. The site itself consists of 7 properties, about a little over 60 acres in size. These are located in the northeast quadrant, the Salmon Highway and 30th Street southwest intersection. With the Salmon property, then the reserves to the north, and the Adams Lake is to the highway commercial properties along the Trans-Canada Highway, with agricultural land generally to the west and the southwest as well. Again, that's the site plan superimposed on our photo. So what we have to date is the property is currently designated in 2 land use designations in the OCP, highway commercial along the southern portion, as shown in pink, and the remainder is in the Salmon Valley agricultural designation, as shown in the green. In terms of zoning, majority of the property, that to the north is zoned A1 agricultural. Along the south, along the Trans-Canada Highway, there's, as shown in red, our C3 zoning, so it's commercial zoning, as well as just in that underneath the M2, there's a small area that's also zoned light industrial. In terms of the property, that part of the property is zoned A1, or designated Salmon Valley Agricultural, as shown in green, was specifically excluded from the Agricultural Land Reserve in 2005. At the time, council initiated that. The applicant initiated that. Council and staff of the day were supportive of the exclusion. The purpose was to provide land for commercial development, primarily large-scale commercial development. That was the interest from the city, and the Agricultural Land Commission approved that in 2005. As mentioned in the report, they didn't feel that it had a higher agricultural potential, and secondly, didn't have a negative impact on adjacent ALR properties. In terms of sort of the next step, there's a number of items. Section 879 of the Local Government Act requires referrals to a number of agencies. They're listed in the report. Information has been received from the Salmon Indian Band, Ministry of Transportation, Interior Health Authority, and Terrazan Gas. Further to that, it's a requirement that Council consider any implications for the city's liquid waste management plan. And updates are required by the City of Transportation, and the traffic consultant is working on those at this time. I guess the specific items of interest regarding traffic are access from the development site to the Trans-Canada Highway, intersection and design alignment of a new traffic light at 30th Street and the Trans-Canada Highway, and a second access to the Trans-Canada Highway near the east boundary of the site. Potential for increased traffic Canada Highway east and west of the development site, frontage road access location designed to and through the development site, and future frontage road network on the north side of Trans-Canada Highway, again east of the development site through and to the west as well. The Ministry of the Environment, two sites require some preliminary investigation for contaminated sites. The Ministry of the Environment has provided a letter to the applicant in the city indicating that rezone division is appropriate prior to that being resolved. That would need to be resolved prior to the development permit being issued, and the applicant is working to provide the necessary information to the Ministry of the Environment. The design review panel has not reviewed the application package for the commercial development. There's no commercial development permit at this time. An archaeological impact assessment has been undertaken, and there's no further work is being recommended. The fire department has some comments to road accesses to the development site, and be cautious of the maximum cul-de-sac length as the development proceeds to the north. The building department has some comments about geotechnical requirements. The engineering department referral is included in Appendix 7, and that speaks to generally sanitary sewer service and water service are available to the site. Let's move ahead a little bit to get what's being proposed would be that a storm could be constructed on part of the proposed location here. And that storm pond would accommodate the stormwater from the development itself, as well as have the capacity to accommodate some upstream stormwater in the Hobbs Creek watershed. There's two water courses that I'll speak to in detail, but the Hobbs Creek is located in the southeast corner here. There's a small remnant of that takes water from the north side of Trans-Canada Highway and discharges to the Adams Lake Indian Band land. What's being proposed by the applicant, and then secondly supported by the qualified environmental professional that's working on behalf of the applicant, is that Hobbs Creek, the ditch, is essentially a ditch that runs through here, essentially be removed, and that stormwater runoff in the pipe this location